If we are strategic rushing, then we are potentially getting to higher town halls faster than if we're maxing. And from that perspective, which pieces of hero equipment are the best to strategic rush? But before we get into that, make sure you smash that subscribe button, but don't destroy your phone. Now let's get into it. Before we get into the hero equipment breakdown, we do need to address epic equipment. Now, if we already have the pieces we're going to talk about because we participated in the special event, then we won't have to spend gems to get any of the epic pieces. But if we didn't participate and we need to purchase those epic pieces of equipment with gems, then I'm going to tell you which pieces of equipment I would buy personally with gems, and then you can decide whether or not it's worth it to you. Starting with the king, the only two pieces we should be upgrading are the Giant Gauntlet and the Spiky Ball. The Giant Gauntlet offers constant healing, a high DPS boost, and when activated, 60% incoming damage reduction and splash damage on whatever he targets. The Spiky Ball at max offers a 3,290 HP increase, a 222 DPS increase, and when activated, a giant Spiky Ball explodes outward, delivering 3,250 in damage to 9 targets. These pieces can be gotten and used starting at Town Hall 8, and if you have the gems, I strongly recommend that you use it on these pieces. However, the Rage Vial and the Vamp Stash are the strongest pairing common pieces for the king. The Rage Vial is obtained at Town Hall 7, and if you can only afford one piece of epic equipment, then definitely pair the Rage Vial with the Giant Gauntlet. If you can't afford any pieces of epic equipment, then pairing the Rage Vial and the Vamp Stash is a fine choice and will do very well. Now, once we've made our decision on what two pieces we want to upgrade, we want to make sure that we throw all of our ore into those two pieces. Now, I know the temptation is to throw a little here, throw a little there on other pieces, for example, for the king, but these two pieces that we are talking about work very well with a variety of situations and will do just fine with most attacks. Moving on to the queen, we get the Invis Vial and the Archer Puppet at Town Hall 9, along with the Giant Arrow once we upgrade the Blacksmith. The Archer Puppet can be tossed in the trash and is not worth wasting any ore on. The Giant Arrow is definitely more niche and can be difficult to use for a variety of attacks, so I would start upgrading the Invis Vial and then wait until Town Hall 12 to start upgrading the second piece of Queen's equipment we will be focusing on, which is the Healer Puppet. The reason I prefer these two pieces is because they offer the most flexibility, with power shots from the Invis Vial and a nice HP increase and healers from the Healer Puppet. While we're waiting for our second piece to appear while we strategic rushing at Town Hall 12, which is the Healer Puppet, then we can throw some ore into the Giant Arrow since that's an attack that can be used later on down the road, but I would definitely make sure that I would focus all of my ore on the Invis Vial and the Healer Puppet, because right now those are just the strongest two pieces in the game and overall do the best job with most attacks. Now, the elephant in the room is the Frozen Arrow, and while it does post some solid DPS stats and has a solid freezing ability while using it, its value isn't that much above either the Healer Puppet or Invis Vial, so I wouldn't waste gems on buying it until much later in our upgrading journey. In fact, personally, I haven't even bothered maxing it on my main account. Next, we have the Grand Warden, and while he has the most variability in all his different pieces of equipment, there are two pieces that just stand head and shoulders above the rest, and those are the Eternal Tome and the Healing Tome. At one time, I did recommend the Life Gem to pair with Lalo, but have since changed my stance on that, since the Healing Tome can be extremely effective at allowing loons to get through multi-Inferno Towers, for example, which can be death to Lalo. Now, while we get the Eternal Tome at Town Hall 11, the Healing Tome doesn't come until Town Hall 13, so feel free to use the Life Gem or Rage Gem at level 1 alongside the Eternal Tome, which we will upgrade, until the healing tome becomes available. Now, the other elephant in the room is the fireball. And while I absolutely love this piece of epic equipment and I use it all the time with my super witches, the negatives are A, it can only be used in niche attacks similar to the giant arrow, and B, it's only best at max levels, meaning it will take a super long time to be worthwhile. So while I would purchase it for gems if you have them, I would not prioritize it over the giant gauntlet and or the spiky ball, and I would also max my other two pieces of equipment for each hero before focusing any attention on it. Lastly, we have the Royal Champion, and while we get the Seeking Shield and Royal Gem whenever she is introduced at Town Hall 13, the strongest pieces are gained when upgrading the Blacksmith at Town Halls 14 and 15 in the Hog Puppet and the Haste Vial. For whatever reason, these two pieces are able to get the most down and save attacks in the most spectacular way. Now, the Rocket Spear is a powerful piece of equipment, but it also will be the last piece of epic equipment I upgrade since there are so many other valuable epic pieces before it. Granted, my opinion on the Rocket Spear might change, but at the moment, it's going to be one of the last pieces of hero equipment that I will be upgrading. So in review, for the King, the Giant Gauntlet and the Spiky Ball, if you have them. The Giant Gauntlet and the Rage Vial, if you can only afford one. And the Rage Vial and the Vamp Stash, if you aren't going to purchase any epic pieces. For the Queen, the Invis Vial and the Healer Puppet, with the Giant Arrow on hold as the first piece to focus on after maxing these two pieces. For the Grand Warden, the Eternal Tome and the Healing Tome, with the Fireball on hold if you do decide to purchase it for gems or if you have it already. And for the Royal Champion, the Hog Puppet and Haste Vial. And while these are the pieces that I would personally focus on, you have to decide for yourself which pieces it is that works best for you and your attacks. Just focus on those two pieces and upgrade only those during your strategic rushing journey. A big thanks to Chewy for this OP idea for a video. If you have similar ideas or just a comment on this video, please leave it down in the comments below. I love the interaction. Also, like and share this video with anybody who might be interested in strategic rushing their hero equipment. Also, make sure you smash that subscribe button to follow more videos just like this. Until that next video, my name is TipDog20. I'll see you then.